I thought I'd read from the book of creation, Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was lifeless, empty and dark. Then the Spirit of God moved across the vast emptiness. He said, "Let there be light." Suddenly light shone around the entire sphere of the earth. God looked at the light and said, "That's good." He then divided the light from the darkness. He looked at the light and said, "I'll call you day." Turning to the darkness, he said, "And I'll call you night." So with the day and the night, that was the first day. On the second day, God looked at the waters and said, "Be divided." Immediately the waters started to separate. Some went up and the rest stayed down. God looked at the waters that were above, and he looked at the waters that were beneath. Then he looked at the space that was between the two and said, "I'll call you sky." On the third day, God focused on the waters that were below the sky. He said, "Be gathered together into seas and rivers and lakes. Let dry land appear." Suddenly the land rose up from the waters. Rivers flowed off the land, separating the hills and causing valleys. Lakes and seas were everywhere. God looked at the dry land and he looked at the seas and said, "That's good." Then he went and said to the land, "Bring forth vegetation. Let there be grasses, vegetables, herbs, trees, flowers, vegetables." And there were trees of many different kinds. Some would become tall while others remained close to the ground. Some of the trees would produce different kinds of fruit. All this vegetation grew from that day forward. And they all had seeds so that life could continue on. On the fourth day, God looked into the heavens and said, "Let there be light. A greater light to rule over the day and a lesser light to rule over the night. They'll divide the day and the night and be signs and seasons, days and years." Immediately the sun started moving across the sky, giving light and warmth to the earth. The moon, the stars filled the night with splendor and brilliance. God looked at the sun, the moon and the stars and said, "That's good." On the fifth day, God looked at the sky and the waters that were below it. He said, "Bring forth life. Let there be birds in the skies and fish and sea creatures in the water." Immediately sea creatures started moving into the seas, lakes and rivers. Some were large, others were very small. There were fish of all different sizes, shapes and colors. Birds appeared in the skies. Some flew high up in the air, while others stayed close to the ground. They had different shapes, colors, and sounds. God looked at the sea creatures, the fish and the birds, and he said, "That's good." He blessed them and told them to multiply and fill the seas and the skies. On the sixth day, God said to the earth, "Bring forth living creatures. Let them be wild animals and others that can't be tamed." Immediately animals started walking across the earth. Some were huge and others were very small. God looked at them and said, "That's good." Then God said, "Let's make people. We'll make them to be like us. They'll rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and the animals that move across the land." So God made a man and a woman, and he blessed them and told them to multiply and fill the earth with people. He told them to rule over all that he had made. He then gave them fruit, grains, vegetables, and green plants to eat. Then God looked at all he had made, and he said, "It is all very, very good." On the seventh day, God rested from all that he had done. He blessed the seventh day and made it special. This is how God created the heavens and the earth and brought forth life in the first week of time. And we're blessed to be able to share in readings like this and the goodness of God and all that is around us. And let's think how much damage we do to our environment, our flora, our fauna, our habitations. So thanks be to God for his word and for bringing everything into being. Amen.